Hi guys, it's Pip Mackay here, and it is day 6 of my 40-day quest to write my book. Now, if my screenflow works, you'll be able to see that I've got the hero's journey up on the the desktop there, and you'll be able to see that there's the call to adventure, the refusal of the cold magical aid, and crossing the first threshold. And then there's the belly of the whale and road of trials. And like I said yesterday, I've started on the road of tests and trials. And so this is a phase where your enthusiasm kind of disappears, and you're left with persistence and perseverance to get you through. Things aren't as fun anymore. The honeymoon period is kind of over, and it's just a matter of getting on with the work. For me at the moment, yesterday I really overdid it. So even though my health is so much better than it ever was, for those who have seen my previous videos, I still have to watch myself, and yesterday I overdid it: bike riding, rock climbing, walking, and this morning I've woken up feeling pretty tired and like I've got a cold and sort of feeling like not really wanting to do very much. And this is a normal phase at this point in time. And what I find for a lot of people is, a lot of people, when they start following their passion and purpose, they've got this huge amount of enthusiasm. And then all of a sudden they hit the road of trials, and all that enthusiasm's gone, and that's at the point when they give up. But in actual fact, the road of trials is where you find out what you're made of. So I want to talk about the archetypal stages of growth, because the first section before you cross the first threshold is basically like childhood. So this is my IP that I've sort of put on with the hero's journey to help us understand what's going on in the hero's journey more. But it's like anything. It's like any form of relationship, whether it's a relationship with yourself and your own passion and purpose, or a relationship with someone else. There's that honeymoon period. And for a lot of relationships, when it moves into that adolescence period, that kind of storming, a lot of people get out of the relationship then and go back to childhood, and then they never really develop a relationship that goes any further than that initial stage of childhood. And that's the same with our passion and purpose. A lot of people feel addicted to that enthusiasm, and then the moment the enthusiasm goes, when you're actually getting on with the job of making your idea a reality, a lot of people will then skip out and then start with another idea. But the thing about enthusiasm is just the tool that inspiration uses to kick-start your action on your goal and to get you over that first threshold. And that enthusiasm is not meant to stay. It goes. And the reason is because enthusiasm takes up a lot of energy. If you really want to get something done, then you need all that energy for actually going ahead and doing it. The initial phase is kind of playful, fun, you feel passionate, and then the passion kind of sort of goes away whilst the purpose kicks in, and you're actually doing the stuff that's growing the muscle, so that you can achieve what you're meant to be achieving, and that you can become the person who actually gets that goal. Now, yesterday I talked about the Knight, and I promised that I would reveal the Holy Grail. So what is the Holy Grail? I mean, it's been obviously it's been around for a really long time. This idea of the Grail, it's not actually a part of the Bible, and originally it wasn't even considered the Holy Grail. It was just the Grail. And one of my favorite legends about the Grail, obviously there's the legends that you probably know, that it's a cup or a chalice, and that it captured the blood of Christ when he was on the cross. But there's another tradition of the Grail, which I love, and it comes out of this book, Parzival and the Stone from Heaven, which is a translation of an older 13th century book, which was also part of an earlier book in the 11th and 12th century, which is all sort of the origin of the Grail myth. So what was it? In those days, it was actually a stone. And this was a stone that came from heaven. And what basically happened was that at one point in heaven, there was this battle between the angels of light and the angels of darkness. I'm sure you've heard of this battle. But what you might not have heard of was that there were these neutral angels. And these neutral angels put together a stone where both light and shadow were combined harmoniously in this stone. And in order to protect the stone, they brought the stone down to earth. And they assigned to the stone some Grail guardians, and they were going to look after this stone. Now, this stone was then the stone of healing, because it was the stone that mixed the light and the shadow together. And it was also the philosopher's stone. It was the pill of immortality, and so on and so forth. So you can see that a lot of different traditions and myths have all combined together. Now, this idea of the philosopher's stone is in every culture. In fact, in China, around the 1940s. Oh, that's Tiger again. Around the 1940s, I haven't fed him yet. There was actually around war, the Second World War time. They found these kind of bodies of some people who'd been around in ancient times, and there was a woman who'd actually understood the pill of immortality. There was a whole phase of tests and trials, initiations that you needed to go through, and things you needed to learn in order to discover the philosopher's stone. And anyway, obviously she had found it, because one of the things that they talk about is that if you found someone who was initiated into a certain level of the pill of immortality, as the Chinese call it, then the body won't decay. And apparently they found her body, and it was undecayed at all, and it was just perfect as it would be in life. And the skin was, actually, came back from pressing. And anyway, they actually, I'm not quite sure why, there was something at that time that they didn't want to bring up, these ancient traditions, because they wanted to promote, the communism, etc. at that time. And so they destroyed the body. But anyway, it's an interesting story to see how in every culture, and of course most recently, there's been the philosopher's stone. So in the Parseval story, the Grail guardian, he betrays the stone. And as a result, and he goes into battle for someone that he loves. But this woman, it disdains him, and he goes into battle for a worthless cause, because she doesn't love him back. And he gets a wounding near his groin. And this is the Fisher King and the myth of the Fisher King. And then he's in pain all the time. Now, the Grail keeps him alive. But it doesn't heal his pain, because the Grail has been betrayed. And so it's up to Parseval to come to the Grail castle and to ask, "What ails thee, my king?" But Parseval, when he's young and untried, he is obeying his mentor's wishes, which was, don't ask too many questions or you show your ignorance. And so when he comes to the Grail Castle, he's too busy listening to his parental programming to see what is in front of him and ask this question of compassion. And so the Grail and the Grail Castle, the Grail disappears and he's left alone in an empty castle. And then he goes off. And during that time, he's so despondent because, he's lost this opportunity, and he doesn't even understand the opportunity at the time. It takes other people to tell him, in fact a sorceress, to tell him about his shame, for him to understand what's happened. And then he goes on this quest again to re-find the Grail, and he can't find it, and he gets more and more depressed. and he lets the horse's reins go, and he ends up wandering into the deepest, darkest part of the forest. And during that time in the deep, dark part of the forest, he finds a hermit, and he sits with the hermit, and at that time he realizes he needs to stop going on this external journey, and he needs to go on this internal journey when he discovers who he is without the influence of his parents. And he goes on this internal journey, and he gives up the external quest to go on this internal quest. And of course, it is in our internal, in our unconscious mind, and this is where the two traditions come together, because the cup has traditionally been a symbol of the unconscious mind, or, you know, the womb of our consciousness, if you like. And it's inside there that we need to face our darkness. And when we can learn from our darkness, when we can overcome our parental programming, then we can come out of the forest and into the light and find the Grail, which is what Passadar does. And this has really become part of the core philosophy of the matrix therapies that I created and the archetypal coaching that I created, where we are able to let go of our parental programming, so that we can be ourselves and find our identity by doing passion and purpose coaching and archetypal coaching, find our archetypal identity. And then really step into who we are. And when we step into who we are, we can truly find and fulfill our passion and purpose. So that's where I'm up to today. I did write yesterday. I did about 500 words, but I was so tired that I just found other things that I needed to find inside of other writing that I'd done before. So I still got my 2,000 words, but I just did it in other ways, and I felt like it's okay because I did 3,000 words the other day. So I'm still on track, and today I'm going to need to keep going it, or maybe find some other stories that I've written that are going to fit with the archetypes at other times, and put it in there. Or I might need to start doing some of that dictating. I'm not sure. I'm just going to have to see. So stay tuned for tomorrow when we see what else is happening for me. And I'll speak with you soon. So I will stop.